from all over. So it's a grand gathering. We're here today for the KNX National Group USA for a product manufacturing presentation. We have a series of product presentations on YouTube videos and other platforms. These are manufacturers whose products are available in the USA, and we want to introduce them to the marketplace along with the KNX system and its opportunities. Please attend them throughout, and feel free to ask questions at the end of the session. There's also contact information which will ride with the live YouTube presentation. KNX USA National Group is here to support and marketing of the KNX technology in the USA. If you don't know, KNX is a 35 years in running of a standard that is maintained. What I like about it is I'm capable of maintaining and replacing products on 20, 25-year-old, 30-year-old systems because the technology is the same. The idea is no planned obsolescence for the KNX market. We want to be able to be backwards compatible, and it's forward-looking with products like you're going to see today. We're keeping up with the marketplace as well. If anyone wants additional information about KNX National Group in the USA, it's at a website called knx.us. Very simple. That's our website. You can find links to this manufacturer, other manufacturers, and members here in the USA. With that said, I'm gonna introduce David Bobin, who is with Comfort Controls or ComfortClick, and he will continue on and give you his presentation. Thank you very much for attending, and please stay throughout the entire hour. It would be appreciated. David?
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. Again, thank you all for, of course, taking your time today and listening to the introductional training that we have prepared today. We are, as you mentioned, ComfortClick. We are actually located in Slovenia in Europe, and we have been working with KNX, of course, and working with home automation for, I think, more than 15 years now. With all sorts of devices, all sorts of protocols, but mainly focusing on KNX. And the idea for today is to kind of give you an overview of the ecosystem. I'll show you the applications that we have. We are going to be, of course, integrating our KNX. So I will show you basically how fast, easy it is to get your KNX project imported into our system. We're going to be adding some logic, some automation, and then also at the end, I will show you how fast and easy it is to make a customizable, different, and a nice visualization for the end user and, of course, for the client. Just before we actually get started, I can just quickly show you how simple, intuitive, and user-friendly the user interface is. And you will see at the end, when we actually make this visualization, how easy it is to make it, right? So, like I mentioned, the idea behind it is very simple to use, intuitive. Everyone can use it, and we have shortcuts at the bottom. We have main page showing us the basic information for our building. We have shortcuts at the bottom. We have different options for visualization. We have this kind of top-down view. We have side views like this. All the buttons, the lights, the shades, cameras, HVAC, alarm systems, all of these can be very quickly and easily accessed and controlled using the client application. So shades, the cameras around the building, consumption, irrigation, all of this can very easily be controlled and accessed. And one of the main features that we still promote and try to kind of provide to our clients is the option for customization. So everything that you see here on the screen can fully be customized, so you can basically tailor your building, tailor your configuration or visualization as the client wants it. And so to get this running, to get started basically with this, I would say the first thing you need to do is you, of course, visit our webpage. It's comfortclick.com. Super easy to remember. You create a completely free account on this site. And then I would say the easiest way to get started is simply going here to downloads and then check through the applications. So we actually have 3 different applications that we provide. First is the BOS server application. This application is available on Windows machines. And so if I go service monitor. You install it, basically it runs in the background of your machine, and all it does, it reserves two of your local host ports, which will then allow your other devices to connect. So for local connection, it will take the 80 port. For HTTPS connection, it will take the 443 port. And then if you have your phone, your tablet, or any other device, you will then be able to connect to this machine. The next application, and probably the main application that we're going to be spending the most time in today, is going to be our BOS configurator application. So this is going to be the one main tool for us to, add our KNX in, add our logic, add our automation, and also this is the place where we create the visualization as well. It is also available on Windows. And then, of course, we have the client applications. Client applications are available on all platforms. So we have Windows, Android, iOS, and actually any web browser can also be used as a client to connect to, the building and view the visualization part. So that is just a nice little addition. If you don't want to download the application, you can freely just view the visualization using any browser. For today, of course, I have all the applications pre-installed on my machine. And if I open up the BOS configurator, you can see this is the welcome, or the first screen that you see when you open up the application. In the middle here, we have a couple of different servers that I can connect to. So the idea here is that if you are a system integrator, you have multiple projects, and at any point you're required to do some maintenance, to do some support, we will of course allow you to connect to any server that you have access to. And the way you can add a new server, so if you're starting out a new project, you purchase, let's say, one of our servers, the way you can connect to it is, again, extremely easy. You just go here to the top right and you press add. And there's actually three ways for us to connect to our server, basically. So the first is by using this access ID. So this access ID is unique for each individual hardware. And so, and if you register, you will see that you'll be asked to create this access ID. And all this access ID does, it checks where you're connecting from and then connect to the correct IP. So if you're connecting locally, it will then connect to the local IP address. But if you are connecting externally, so from another network, from another country, from another city, and if you're not from the same network, it will then connect to the external IP address. Of course, if you are planning on connecting remotely, there is a specific port that needs to be forwarded in order to make this remote connection possible. The second way of connecting is by using the manual configuration. Manual configuration is basically just direct IP. So you would either type in here the local IP or you would type in the public IP. If you are connecting locally and maybe don't know the IP, you can also press this find button. It'll basically scan your local network. It will locate, find all of the BOS servers, and you can just select whichever you have access to. This development one, you press add. You can see the IP fills out. Of course, you do need to know the login credentials, and then you are ready to connect. The third way of connecting is still by using this access ID, but instead of opening up ports, setting up the public IP address and so on, you can use the service that we launched a couple of years ago. So the service that we launched was basically gateway access, which means that we will allow you to connect remotely to your server without the need of port forwarding. So all the traffic is redirected through our servers. We then provide you with remote, encrypted, and secure connection to your server. There is a small fee behind it to compensate for the server use, but it is well worth it, especially for the clients that maybe don't want port forwards for remote access and etc. For today's presentation, I'm just gonna select local. So this is gonna be my PC here as the server, and I'm just gonna connect to my configuration. Of course, type in the login credentials, and this is basically the first screen that you see when we open up the configurator. So I will show you a little bit greater detail how to navigate and how to go, how to work the configuration. But since most of you here are working with KNX, I can just quickly show you within a couple of minutes how easy it is to get your KNX project running in our software. So all you would have to do, the idea behind the configurator is that it's pretty easy to use, it's pretty self-explanatory. We have building with some basic information, general has some additional settings, and of course devices is the list of all the devices that are currently supported by our software. Of course, one of them is, of course, KNX. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press KNX and I'm going to add it to the list of my devices. So all the connection types for KNX are supported. So we have KNX, IP, USB, serial, tunneling, all of these connection types are supported. So depending on your project, depending on your connection type, you would select it here from the list. For instance, if I want to connect to my Jigsaw server that I have in the office, I can press this discovery button. We will scan all the available servers. We have in the office a bunch of them running. I can also select this IP gateway, but I'm just going to select, let's say this one, select it, and connect to my KNX bus using the discovery button. So the next step, all we basically require is, of course, your ETS project. So once you are done with your ETS, the group addresses are set, devices are programmed, everything is working, everything is fine. You can then export your ETS project and you can import it into BOS. To do this, you just go here to ETS import, you run this function, you find your KNX project. So in this case, you can see we have this demo project that I have running, and I can open it up. And these are all the group addresses that are currently in my ETS project. So we have path, which is basically the name of the group address. We have addresses here, so for controlling, and we also have status or feedback addresses as well. So these need to be linked together if we want to receive a live feedback in the client. You may have noticed that some of the group addresses here are colored red. That just means that they are undefined. So if you have an ETS, if you have a group address that is undefined, it will also be undefined here in BOS. But if you still want to import it, you can also, of course, select it. So this case, you can see lights on and off. It's usually a Boolean value. So I would right click it and select template and set this to Boolean type. Lights dimmable, it's usually unsigned value. So if you have been working with ETS, if you've done a KNX project, the whole process is extremely easy. You just basically select whichever device you want to integrate and add it in. Heating temperature is usually float value. So you would just select it, shades that also add position for shades, and you are ready to add them in. As I mentioned, if you want to receive a live feedback in the client, so let's say if I open up the client, let's say on my phone or let's say on my tablet, and if someone is actually live in the room there, and if I want to receive a live feedback here in the client, that someone turned the lamp on or off, what I have to do is I need to link my status addresses, I need to link them with my actual group address. So we only need to drag and create one button in the visualization for both control and also receive feedback from the device. So again, very, very simple. The easiest way to do is I can just select my status addresses. I can select them all, right click, I can copy the addresses, and what I can do is I can go to my actual group addresses for control, right click, and paste it to status address. BOS is going to link them together. They are now basically connected. And now if I was on my visualization, someone turns the lamp on or someone, dims the light a little bit low, I will receive live feedback here in the client. When you do this importation process the first time, it may take, I don't know, a couple more, and depending, of course, on the size of the project, it may take some time. But once you do this whole importation process twice, 3 times, the whole process is extremely fast and extremely easy to do. So, and once you are satisfied with your, devices, let's say I have selected everything that I need, you can press next, and you can see that we have imported 63 new devices. So in the first step, we simply imported the group addresses, but now in the next step, we are going to actually tell BOS what these devices are. Again, if you did the project, if you do this once or twice, again, very, very simple process to do. You can go see how we have heating, current set point. I select my group addresses here. You can see they're all basically no template, no image, no temp. So BOS actually doesn't know what this is, but current set point, template, and I select temperature set point. I select this, and actually a lot of things happen on the back end when I do this, right? The first thing, we set a template. The second thing, we set the image. We set the unit, coloring, everything is automatically set for us. So when we do actually come to the part where we create the visualization, it is going to be that much easier because we will already have icons set, colors. As you can see, lights are usually yellow, shades are blue, devices are green, and so on. So it is going to be that much easier for us when it comes to the visualization part because we already set our templates. And again, extremely simple process. This is temperature, so it's basically just displaying temperature. So it's going to be like a temperature label. To keep it simple, I'm just going to go to my lights on and off, right click template, select this to lamp, and BOS will automatically set that for me. If I want to change it, I can also select, let's say, 3 lamps, right click, select image, and I can already start my visualization part, or let's say customizations here. So I could go to here to my icons that I have in the software. So lamps, for instance, I can already replace it, let's say, with this chandelier. And when it's going to be the part where we create the visualization, our icons and everything is already going to be set. Here at the end, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add shades in. So it's just going to be easier for us at where we come to the visualization. So shades, select shades, and the group addresses are ready. And I can, once I'm done, once I'm satisfied, the group addresses are set, and I can actually close this window out. And now if I extend my KNX, you can see that BOS has put our nodes into folders and subfolders exactly the same way as we have them in ETS. So if your ETS project was done well, transparent, everything is labeled, everything is ready, it is going to be that much easier for us in BOS. So, and if I was connected to, let's say, like a live KNX bus, I could select this living room LED. I could go here to values, and I could turn the lamp on, and the lamp would already turn on. So it is that easy, basically. You do this, like I said, you do this once or twice. The whole process takes half an hour, and your whole KNX project is ready in our software. And now we can, once our KNX product is added in, we can now start doing the rest. So we can now start doing the automation, logic, visualization, and so on, right? So that is basically how KNX can be imported. Similar process is for other devices. So depending if you are also working with any of our other devices that we support, the process is similar, right? In many cases, if you're doing BACnet maybe or Modbus or similar devices like this, having the manual of the device is crucial for the integration because the manual will contain connection settings, addresses, and so on for us to control. So similar process, you would add the address in, you would set it as the manual says to do it. You would set, of course, here the template, and you are ready to control the device. And when it comes to the visualization part, I can just quickly, before we actually continue, just quickly show you add panel, just call it, let's create, let's say living room, just so I can show you that it takes 20 seconds to create a visualization. So we have a blank page, living room, I can create a frame, I can go to my KNX device, let's say, and the way we can build our visualization is by simply selecting whichever device I want to control and drag it into the visualization and press OK. And it is as simple as that. You just select, drag and drop. Kitchen, drag and drop. If I want shades, I can go to this one, and we can go to shades here, position, and drag it and drop it in. And everything that I do here in the configurator, everything is refreshed live in the client. So if I go to my living room, the panel that I just created, you can see everything is here. So KNX, I can just go turn these lamps on, turn these shades down, and so on. So this is also very, very useful if you are, building or tweaking live on the client side, because you can take like a iPad, connect to the building, create a visualization, and then quickly navigate to the room, to the building, and control these devices. Okay, to give you a little bit better understanding on the way the configurator works, let me just give you kind of an overview of the software itself. So the main, as I mentioned earlier, the configuration itself is built in a configuration tree, which means that we have, main nodes here on the left side, and then we have sub nodes containing additional settings, additional options for my building. The main building node contains basic information about the server. So I can open up this license and I can see all the basic stats for my current PC here. So I can see how many users are, what's my ID, access ID, if you remember from the beginning. I can see this here, machine ID, IP addresses, all the basic stats are listed here. The next very important note here that we have is also, of course, our software updates. So we do try to update software frequently. Every 2 months or so, there is a brand new update. And one thing to note here is that all current and future updates are available completely for free. So down the line, if we implement a new device, a new driver, a new protocol, something new has been added, it is completely for free for everyone to download. So you can just, once it's available, as you can see here, like 2 months ago, there was a new update, and you can just see some improvements, some bug fixes, and so on. So you can just, once it's ready, you can just install it and you are ready to go. Within the building node, I can also change my network settings. So change my IPs if I want, like my local IP address. If I would have like a wireless connectivity, I can also connect to my wireless network via this as well. There are some security measurements that are also implemented, some brute force preventions. If someone tries to log into the building without the proper login credentials, after certain tries, BOS will automatically block that IP address, so there's no further attempts for connection. And we can also shut down and reboot my machine here using the configurator as well. The next major subnode that we're going to be checking today is also going to be our general. So general, as I mentioned earlier, contains additional options, additional information for my current configuration. So the first and very important one is going to be our users. And usually the easiest way to explain how these users work and why we have these users is to just give you a very, very simple example. So let's say we have an apartment building like this, look like a house, and let's say we have parents and we have children living in this house. And let's say the parents don't want the children to have access to the alarm, or maybe the HVAC or the cameras or the heating, for instance. In that case, we could create two separate users. One would be parents, and they can have administrative privileges. They are administrators, they have access to the configurator, they have access to all the nodes in the visualization. But then we also create another user, and this one could be kids, for instance, and they have limited access. So the privileges are set, let's say, to guest or user, and then you can also hide or lock specific panels for each individual user. So you could hide it for kids, for instance, so they cannot access it. And this feature is also crucial when it comes to a commercial building. So if you have a hotel or a hospital or whichever building, if you have, let's say, a hotel, you don't want the guests that kind of log into the building via the client to have access to the cameras and the heating and the alarm, right? You only want them to have access to only their room. So in that case, you could the way the configuration is created, you would create, if you have a hotel with 20 rooms, you would create 20 different users. They would log in with their own special login credentials, and they will only be able to see their own specific room, right? So it comes very, very crucial when it comes to the limiting the users and limiting the visualization part. The visualization BOS also has its own translation tool. So if it is like a commercial building and it's like a hotel, if they log in and they see, oh no, oh, okay, everything is in English, maybe I don't speak English, they can very quickly just go to the settings here and change the language to, let's say, German, for instance. And then every note that is translated is automatically now in German. So this is just another feature that's gonna, it was made so it's easier for the end user to kind of just swap between different languages. Like UI, every notification, everything that is now, it was in English is now in German, for instance. So this is just another feature that we have. And earlier, I also mentioned that everything is customizable. So every button, every background, image, color, everything that you see here on the screen, for instance, everything is 100% customizable. And if I go here to files, and if I go to images, you can see that the software itself comes with, I think it's 200 or 300 images that you can choose from. So we have basically everything covered from, shades, lights, awnings, devices, doors, statuses. All of these icons are here for you to use. They are embedded in the software, so you can freely use them if you want. But of course, you can also use your own custom icons. The way to do this, you can just go here to, images, right click, select add. You can select this image file here. This will basically browse your PC. So if you have it, if you have like a folder somewhere with icons, you can use it and you can select this. So we have JPEGs, PNGs, GIFs. Also, if you have some animation, SVGs, they are all supported. So what you do is just select it and open it up. And this icon now has been imported into BOS. And I'll show you later also when we do a little bit more of the visualization, how easy it is to swap out and to change these icons. BOS, the software itself also comes with a weather API as well. So Open Weather Map API is embedded in the software, which is this information that we have here on the screen. So we have some weather information, we have a weather forecast, also some additional weather information for today as well. The way it works is very, very simple. You just go here to web and then we have weather, and you would just basically type in your location. So this could be country, this could be a city, this could be anything. So let's go, I don't know, we can just, I'm just type in here Athens, Greece, for instance. You will type in the city, takes 2 seconds for it to refresh. You press OK. And now if I open up the client, you can see we have a completely different weather stats. So we have weather information now for different city here, just to see what's going on. And also one good feature for this weather is that all of the weather information here, so wind speeds, temperature, clouds, visibility, all of these can be used in our automation. So we could use, temperature to maybe control the AC unit, or, wind speed to control the slats or the shades. Of course, it's not going to be as accurate as, let's say, a proper weather station, but it does work good enough for us to trigger specific devices if needed. A voice control is, of course, also supported. So we have Alexa, Google Smart Home, Siri on iOS are also supported, HomeKit. So all of these protocols, all of these options are also available within the software as well itself. At the end, I can show you a little bit of the video that we have. I'm not going to go too deep here with the integration, but it's pretty straightforward. We have a step-by-step instructional video. So that will be for the general. I already covered a little bit of the devices. You already know for KNX how it's added. We have simple, different devices that are also supported. And one of the main features when it comes to BOS and our software, that we will allow you to have a seamless communication between these devices. In most cases, you need to have separate application, one for controlling maybe KNX devices, another one for controlling Modbus, BACnet, IP cameras, speakers, smart TVs. You need to have separate application for all of these. But here in BOS, you can add your devices in. We have KNX, other devices can be added in. And then by using our tasks, you can have a seamless communication between these devices. So you can add so you can have, movement sensor that is maybe on Z-Wave and control KNX device. Or you could have temperature sensor that is on BACnet and control heating that is on Modbus, for instance, or KNX. So you can kind of mix and match and combine all of these devices together. So for today's presentation, we can now start doing some automation, some logic. So we have basically everything that you would need in a like a smart building or an automated building can be created using our tasks. So we have simple tasks, we have some scenes, schedules, some data logs, but we also have more complex tasks. We have some bit conversion, calculation, program tasks. They can also be added in if the client wants additional automation or some more complex logic. To keep it simple for today, I'm just going to create a couple of scenes. Let's call this lights on, for instance. Let's add another one, lights off. And I'm just going to let's add a movement detector in and add a thermostat as well. So as you can see, every task that I added has been added here to my list of my tasks. And of course, the first one is scenes, which is lights on. First of all, what is a scene? Scene is basically controlling multiple devices with a single click of a button or a specific trigger. So if we have, let's say, lights on scene, so we are controlling multiple devices, multiple lights at once. The way the scenes can be created is very, very simple. We just go to whichever device I want to control. So let's go to our KNX. We can go lights on and off that we have open. I can select this lamp and I can drag it into the scene and press OK. And it is basically as simple as that. Select it, drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop, right? We can drag and drop all of these devices in. I'm not limited to just KNX here. I can go to other devices. So I could go to, Modbus, for instance. We have, I think this is the Daikin for AC unit. I can select my AC and I can drag it in as well. So just to give you an example, right? And of course, since this is a lights on scene, I'm going to select all of these devices that are in my scene, and I'm going to set their value to true, which just means that when the scene is going to be triggered, all of these devices are going to be turned on. To create an opposite scene is now going to be even easier because I can now select all of these devices. I can copy them. I can navigate to my lights off scene, and I can paste them in. And the only thing they need to do now is, of course, change their value from true down to false. So now they're going to be turned off. So you can see in a matter of 20, 30 seconds, we have two different fully functional scenes ready to be used by our clients. And a lot of our clients that are working with KNX, they usually swap to BOS scenes because they are a little bit more customizable, and we also allow specific freedom to the client to kind of tweak them if they want, right? There is a couple of different ways we can trigger a scene. First is, like I mentioned, let's go to, let's say, kitchen, for instance. The first way we can trigger a scene is, of course, by running it manually in the client. So I could press the scene button, all the lights that are here are turned off. Dinner, fiesta, depending on the scene, the lights are going to turn on or off, right? Depending on how we set them. And I mentioned earlier that we also allow specific freedom to the client. So if the client is at any point dissatisfied with the scene, so let's say this dinner, when I run it, I wanted this ceiling lamp to also turn on, right, or turn off. What they can do is they can actually change the scene as well. So if I press this wheel button, you can see the device that they're in the scene. So now I can just turn this on, press OK, and then the next time I run the scene, this lamp will stay on, as you can see it here, right? So this is one way we can trigger it, by simply manually running it in the client. The second way of triggering a scene is by adding a automatic trigger. So every task, majority of our tasks, they are all going to have a specific trigger, which means that we run this specific task. And for lights on, I can go here to triggers, press this add button, and you can see now all of the nodes, or basically my whole configuration, is now listed. And I can now select anything that is in my current building to be used as a trigger. So this could be movement sensor. This could be light, for instance. So I could have weather information to maybe get the light values. I could have sun position. I could have time of day even. So I could go to general time values. So we can go time of day, and we can go every day at, I don't know, at 7 o'clock. So 7 military time, 1900, 7 o'clock. Press OK, and then every day at 7 o'clock, the lights are going to turn on. So even without doing any hard logic or programming, we already have some simple but very, very useful automation for our building. Movement detector is a perfect example to show you the communication between different devices. The way it works is, again, very, very simple task. We have input value, which is basically our movement sensor. And then we also have our output value, which is the device that we are controlling. So the input value, we could go and I can go to my movement sensor. We do have, I think, one on Z-Wave. So we have entrance. So this could be, let's say, our Z-Wave motion sensor, and press OK. And then the output value could be a lamp that is on KNX. So I could go to my KNX, lights on and off, and we have outside lamp, and press OK. And now when the movement detector sets value true, so there's movement, our outside lamp is going to turn on. And there's also some settings that I can change. So the delays, if it's blocked, some brightness thresholds, and so on. So these are additional values that I can do. But now we can see we have a completely seamless communication between two completely different devices and different protocols as well. So we have Z-Wave, which is completely different than KNX, for instance. Similar can be done using our thermostat, for instance. So thermostat is, again, we have the input value, which is going to be our temperature sensor. So we could go input value is, let's say, heating, temperature, let's say living room. So we have living room temperature values, and then the output value could be, this could be our heating, underfloor heating, AC units, any device that is, in control for our temperature. So output value, we could go, and I think we have we could just do AC unit, for instance, so AC on and off. And then we would set different hysteresis values, set points here, and then BOS will constantly check the current temperature, if there are any changes, and if we are above or below the threshold, the AC unit will turn on or off, right? Depending on our logic. And again, we have two completely different devices and two completely different protocols, communicating with each other, and creating automation and creating logic. Okay, so let's say we are working on a project, we have KNX, we have other devices added in, we have some logic, we have some lights, we have some scenes, we have some movement detection. The last thing we can now start do is to create our visualization. So I already showed you a little bit how the visualization is done. So we would go to themes, we create a brand new blank panel, and what we do is I can create again. The way the visualization is created, you just select whichever device you want to control and drag it to the frame, basically, or to the panel, and it is ready to be controlled, right? Usually we don't create visualization like this where you have two, like, or one huge button on the screen, for instance. We do if there are some vision impairment, or maybe someone has some vision issues that have big icons, so you can of course do this. But in most cases, you would basically, what you would do is you would go to our background, right click, and you would add a frame. So adding a frame is gonna allow us to make this kind of more structured, more aligned, automatically scaled buttons and controls, right? So living room, let's also add, let's say, our hallway. I'm gonna add another frame, and this one could be for shades as well. So shades, and then let's say also kitchen. And when it comes to the customization, everything for the customization is available here on the right side, right? So if I select this frame, you can see that if I go here to text, I can maybe extend it a little bit further also. So we have text, and I can add a title for my frame. So this could be, let's say, lights, and you can see that kind of a title will appear there. We have shades, and we have shades here, right? We can also add a scene in, and to give you just a quick tip here that I can do is if I drag a scene into the frame like I would do any other device, it is going to be added in. But by default, it's shown here like as a scene. You can kind of tell it's a scene, but it looks very similar to other devices or other buttons in the visualization. So what we usually do is I would select this frame, and here on the right side I would enable the bottom menu. So if I enable bottom menu, you can see this an invisible menu or panel has appeared. And if I drag and drop my scene into this panel, we have now, you can see kind of the difference between the different buttons, right? You can automatically see that this button looks a little bit different than the rest. So we will immediately kind of tell that, okay, this button is a scene and I can control my devices here, right? So lights off, all the lights will turn off, lights on, the lights will turn on, right? And this, of course, all depends on the scene that we created earlier, right? If we don't have a specific device in the scene, it's all going to be listed and controlled here. And as I mentioned earlier, if at any point, as if we probably already know, you create a scene, everything is fine and working, and then 2 months later, the client wants to do some changes, wants to do some, to tweak the visualization or the logic, they can very quickly just press and hold, for instance, to open up the scene and then control it or change it themselves. So they can think, okay, I don't want the living room LED to be in the scene, so they can very easily remove the device from the scene. And the next time that I run the scene, you can see that the living room panel has not been turned on, right? So this is just a little additional information that I can show you now. Also, just a little additional information when it comes to the client itself. The client is going to look exactly the same on all of the devices. So it will look exactly the same on my client application, on Windows, on Android, iOS. You create just one visualization and it will work on all of the devices. The client will also automatically scale according to the screen size. So if this is my full screen on my PC, but if this was on my phone, the visualization would look something like this, right? So let's just pretend that like this is my phone. This is kind of the size of like a regular phone, and the visualization will look like this. So everything is still there, nothing is hidden, everything is still visible, but now I could just use my finger to kind of swap between different pages, and control the devices like I would do normally. So turn the lights, on, swap right, turn the shades down, turn the shades up. So everything is still visible and everything can still be controlled. The bottom menu works the same. I would use my finger to swap left and right. I can navigate between different rooms. So this is kind of a floor plan view that I will explain you a little bit later on. But floor plan view is still here. I can use my fingers to pinch in, pinch out, to zoom in, zoom out. Very useful if you have a big project, like a lot of devices, they are all kind of crammed into the visualization. You can very easily just kind of zoom in, zoom out, navigate, and basically control these devices, as you would normally, right? So like this, and the view, like if I open it on my web browser, it will look exactly the same there as well. And now basically we come to the part where we can kind of start playing around on how the visualization looks. So I can select, let's say, this hallway button. I can select it, and all the customization options are available here on the right side. So, and if I change the style from automatic to manual, you will see a lot more options for the customization. And if I change the display option to manual, we're going to have even more options to play around. So usually what I would recommend our first timers or people that are just playing around with the software is to just basically play around, like just tweak the settings, change how it looks. So we could, add or remove text. So we can go, I don't know, hallway LED, for instance. We can change the image. So we can now actually use, if you remember from the beginning, the icon that we imported. So we can use this icon if we want. If we would have different icons for on and off, we can of course use those as well. We can change, the back color to, I don't know, orange. Maybe okay, it's kind of blending together. Maybe let's do like a green. Text color to, I don't know, let's say yellow. Okay, it's visible. We can make it look more 3D. We can add more, roundness to it. We can add some, we can increase the font size. Again, if someone has maybe some vision impairment, we can increase the font size. We can change the orientation if we want. Add or remove texts for different statuses. So off or on. This could be, true, for instance, or not true or false, for instance. We can change the color of the little bulb there that kind of turns on or off. So we can go like a red, for instance. And if I open up the client living room, we can see that we can now have this kind of a completely different icon that looks and feels completely different from the rest. So you can apply the same customization option, the same logic to all of the rest of the buttons. But again, this all depends on the client, right? Some clients want to keep it simple, clean, no different buttons, but some like to keep it customized and different. So at the end of the day, it all depends on how the client wants to create, how they want to interact with the building. So this will be the automatic way of creating visualization, where everything that I drag and drop, so all the buttons, they are automatically scaled to size. But there's actually a different way we can create the visualization, which is going to be the floor plan view that I showed you earlier. So floor plan, I'm just going to add another panel, and then once we do this, I think we are going to be running out of time soon. But if I drag and drop my device in, it is by default set to automatic and automatically scale. But if I remove it, if I select my background, and if I change here the positioning from automatic to free, this is now going to unlock the background for us. And now if I drag and drop my device in, it's not going to be a small button or this huge button on the screen. It is going to be smaller, more manageable, and I can move it and place it anywhere I want in the visualization. So I can move it here, I can scale it, I can make it a little very, skinny, add more, kitchen, hallway, a bathroom, bedroom, adding all of these devices in. And if you just look at it like this, you're like, okay, why would this be usable? But now if I select my background, and if I go to my layout background, and if I change the background of my visualization, so we could go to layouts, and we have this demo layout that we can use. I can press this OK. And you can see we can now place these devices exactly where they are in the visualization. So we could go bathroom light is here, bedroom lamp is here, kitchen or living room LEDs could be like behind the couch somewhere, kitchen lamp, could be like a countertop if we have it, kitchen countertop, living room middle, I don't know, it could be like so. Hallway, this could be like placed here, for instance, and you can place these devices exactly where they are in the visualization. And if I go to the floor plan, we can see we have completely different view like here. So we have top-down view, we have some logic already running for us. So, and all of these devices will work exactly the same as they did in the normal visualization. So we can add our shades in. So let's say living room. Let's also add kitchen shades here, and they would work like they would in the classic automatic positioning that we had before. And the same customization options apply here, right? So I select this living room. I can just rename it if I want, change the style from automatic to manual, and I can now again start playing around. Like I can make like a circle buttons if I want. Circle, we can change or completely remove the icon if we want. And basically the customization the customization game is on again. So we can turn it off, turn it on, play around the way it looks, and customize it as much as we want. A lot of times we get this question how you can get this image. There's plenty of free softwares or free platforms online, or if you have like an architect that did the project, they can probably send you some floor plan view, and you can then use it to create this different and customizable visualization. And like I showed you earlier, you can zoom in, zoom out, and navigate between or walk around the building and control the devices. Okay, so at this point, this will slowly conclude the introduction when it comes to BOS. To give you just a quick overview, what we did, we kind of went through the software itself. So the configurator, the application, more or less explains you all the nodes that are important. We added our KNX devices in, group addresses, we added some logic, and then also at the end, we created two completely different visualizations for the client or the end user. At the end, I always try to stress this out. If you are at any point stuck, you need to know a little bit more how specific things work, how I can set it up in our software. I would highly recommend visiting our website, and then you can navigate here to support and then open up the knowledge base. Knowledge base is going to contain every node, every device, every task, every function that we have in the software is listed here with additional information. So configurator GUI, for instance, or UI, settings menu, what specific button does here. So at the top, right, backup, restore. If I'm working with, we have system and devices, for instance, I'm working with KNX, for instance, right? So working with KNX. So there is going to be explanation how it works, explanation what different connection types do, how to scan the local network, how to use KNX Secure, for instance. So if you're using KNX Secure, how to set this up, how to set up your group addresses, how to set up the templates, everything that we did earlier in the presentation, everything is listed here. Importing your ETS. There's screenshot usually. There are also videos as well that you can watch. We have a ton of material on our YouTube channel as well. So if I open up this specific video, there is just like a minute long explaining how to do it. But if you visit our YouTube channel, you see we have 144 videos, and these are for the most part instructional videos, step-by-step tutorials. We also host, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a year. We host advanced trainings, which are a little bit longer, similar to this, but in some cases a little bit more advanced, where we go deeper dive into specific integrations, specific devices, APIs. So there is a ton of information available here. So I would just highly recommend just browsing, I guess, through our YouTube channel, of course, our knowledge base as well, as there should be an answer for your question there as well. You also can visit our forum, which is still popular. A lot of our questions, a lot of our clients posting questions, posting suggestions, and so on, helping each other out. So you can also open a support ticket, or open a post on our forum. But if you also want to contact us directly, you can always open a support ticket. I would say 99%, if not more, of our support is completely for free. The only billable support that we do is usually some third-party integrations where we have to do some order, maybe some hardware, test it out here, and do the automation as well. So my voice is also slowly going away as well. So I think we kind of got to the end part. We have a couple of minutes left. If there's going to be like a question or maybe some additional info here at the end. but it's going to be more or less
Is
it
it
from.
is Christian, is the chat open on the YouTube channel? We could get some questions if it was. Um, your presentation is excellent. The product is fascinating. I think it has a huge potential for solving a lot of problems in the USA that we're suffering from, all of the siloed products and proprietary protocols. The massive advantage of KNX is that it's an open protocol. There are 500 manufacturers, all with their specialties that can indeed communicate on the same wire. That are part of the same ecosystem of KNX products, and that's the massive kind of hidden secret. We're seeing a lot of disgruntled lighting designers and other people, owners who have to rip out old systems that are 10 to 15 years old because they become obsolete and circuit boards are discontinued and products are discontinued. And that's not, that's a problem that we solved when we started KNX originally 35 years ago. So I appreciate everybody's attention here. And we'll look and see if we get any questions. If you need questions, if you have questions about KNX, there are two approaches. One is knx.us, that's the KNX National Group USA, which I'm a part of. The other is knx.org, which is the international organization. We both have information about training, about other opportunities with KNX. The heart of KNX is an engineering tool software that the KNX National or KNX Association maintains globally. It's the same programming to set up your system that's available for all the products, and it's a fascinating and flexible platform, and you can get it free for a demo purpose to work with it. We also have a lot of training, as I mentioned earlier, from the different dealers. This product from ComfortClick is available from several of the KNX dealers in the USA, so it is available on the market here for you. And you also can contact ComfortClick Direct and at their website and get more information and direct it to resources and channels here in the USA. With that, David, anything else you want to conclude with?
Mostly that's kind of covered the basic. So we got some questions earlier regarding like how you can get our product. You already mentioned this. There's also how to execute different scenes, but yeah, all of this, the questions, usually the question is, does your software support this or that? The majority of the time it's yes, so the execution of different scenes is allowed and can be done. And also I think the question was from text right to left, so this is also supported. I think this is for like different characters for different languages, so this can also be supported. And also at the end, you can, I mentioned this in the beginning, you can create a free account. You can download the software completely for free. The license is valid for 30 days, the free license. You can try it, you can test it out, you can download it, you can run it. There's no limitation for the free software. You're just going to have like a little annoying pop-up on the client, but you can do your KNX integration, you can do anything, you can test it out and see if you like it, and then of course contact your distributor, contact us for additional information or maybe to request a quote as well. So but I think from my side, I think this is more or less it.
Very good. Thanks everybody for attending. We had a nice attendance, and this will also be posted on YouTube for future reference in the KNX National Group USA website. So thank you everybody for attending. With that, we will close this webinar and look for more announcements. We have many more coming up. A lot of manufacturers are very interested in this same platform for us, and we're happy to provide the platform for any of the KNX manufacturers. Thank you very much, and with that, have a good day, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.